This is the METS POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the New York Mets. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The New York Mets were in line to put the exclamation point on their season series win over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Instead, some poor situational hitting and some sloppy defense in the eighth inning led to a Dodgers comeback, and the Mets fell 6-5. Welcome into the Mets postcast here, the Locked On Mets YouTube channel, the Locked On Mets podcast feed. I'm your postcast host, Chris Schubert, here with you after each and every Mets game throughout the course of the season. And just let me check something. No, it is light out. We are allowed to do one of these postcasts while the sun is still up. I didn't realize that was actually possible, but no Mets After Dark tonight as the Mets fall. Disappointing play, specifically in that eighth inning. We'll get to it all. David Peterson's performance, should they have stayed with him? Pete Alonso hitting another home run. Francisco Lindor not being in this game because of a toe injury. We will get to it all, but we have to start with the main story, what you'll be talking about, and it is that eighth inning, and it is the little things for the New York Mets.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Mets had this one. The Mets had an opportunity to put an exclamation point. They had locked up the season series win against the Dodgers last night. Tonight, this afternoon, with a lead late, 6 outs away from a 5-2 record and making a statement to the rest of baseball that not only did you take the season series from the Los Angeles Dodgers, but you dominated them. Close games, but you won 5 of the 7. That was what was right in front of the New York Mets, just 6 outs away, and they squandered that opportunity. And in this season series with the Dodgers, they have squandered 3 opportunities. All 3 losses are opportunities squandered. The first game of this series against the Dodgers this season, the extra inning game where the Mets in the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th, all they have to do is get one run across. They can't get a hit. Earlier in this series, they go to extra innings. They can't score a run in the top half of the inning. And then in the bottom half, Brendan Nimmo makes a weird play. And then today, unable to have the situational hitting, left 12 men on base, 13 men on base, 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They just couldn't break the game open. It was there for them. The Dodgers were inviting the New York Mets to embarrass them at home in the finale of this series. They were inviting the New York Mets to take 3 out of 4. The Mets just didn't walk through the door. That 4th inning where you have the bases loaded and Pete Alonso up, he strikes out, and then I appreciate Jeff McNeil. I appreciate the positional versatility that he gives the Mets. I appreciate his bat, but his approach of swinging at the first pitch has to change in these types of environments. He has to try to work the count. He has to try to get a good pitch to hit. He cannot try to attack first pitch, because if he hits a ball that plays right into the pitcher's hands, he does exactly what he did today, which is pop out with 2 outs and not allow a run to get across. So he just has to change the approach in that spot. I know it's who he is as a hitter, but different situations call for a different approach. There needs to be a different approach here. And then the 6th inning, they get a runner to third, and then Marte gets picked off on a strikeout, and then Will Smith throws the ball behind Marte, and he gets picked off at third base. Again, the little things. You have to do the little things right when you are playing a team like the Dodgers. The inverse works for the Mets. When the Mets play good teams, or play any team, if you leave the door open, the Mets will take it. Don't gift this team free opportunities. Well, the Mets gifted the defending World Series champion multiple opportunities in the 8th inning. And look, Brett Baty has been a sure-handed defender all season long. His defense was one of the main reasons why he replaced Mark Vientos. Just they couldn't continue to run out Mark with the bat being as slow as it was, being as cold as it was, and also the defense just not being there. So they turned to Baty. His bat got hot. The defense was great. And on a chopper that's hit right to him, where they're going to absolutely just nail the tying runner at the plate, he double clutches the ball. He doesn't lose it in his glove. He doesn't lose it on the transfer. He doesn't lose it when trying to make the throw. He just double clutches the ball. For whatever reason, just didn't like what he saw. Maybe he thought the runner was going to come back towards him and he was going to have an easy play for the tag, so he didn't want to throw it, not knowing what was behind him. You got to just read what's in front of you. And what was in front of Brett Baty was a runner moving towards home plate. Get the ball to Alvarez, get out of the way, and let the rundown commence. Worst case scenario, if you throw the ball to Alvarez, he's going back to third base. The run's not going to score, even if it's the wrong play to throw it to Alvarez because he's got an easy path back to third base. You didn't allow the run to score. So you just can't have those types of little plays. Max says Baty is fine. He made an error. These things happen. Agreed 100%. This is not a slander of Brett Baty. This is not to say that he should not be playing third anymore. This is not to say that he's a bad player. Get him out of there. No, this is just in this game in particular, you got to make that play. He just didn't. But it is a rare mistake for him to make. And that's why it gets the featured billing, because we're so used to him making that play. I mean, how many times this season, start tallying them up, where the Mets have had a runner at third, less than 2 outs, and they get that perfect hit to third base, and they go home with it. Mauricio had one in this series where he made a great throw. Baty has had it a couple of times this year where he's been able to throw out that lead runner at home. So they've done this a bunch this season. This is just one that didn't go their way. And unfortunately, maybe there are some times in some teams where you're going to be able to get away with it. You can't against this team. This team's too talented. They're too good. They're going to be able to make you pay for that mistake. And that is exactly what happened tonight. And it is old friend Michael Conforto, who had been doing nothing all season, who had been doing nothing in this entire series, that comes through and delivers the go-ahead hit for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Missed opportunity today. It's as simple as that. The season's not over. You still split the series in LA. You went 2-2 on the road in LA. You would take it. You won the season series. Again, all of those things are good. You had a chance today to put the exclamation point on it, and you didn't. And I think in order for us to view this team where their record says they are, which is one of the best teams in all of baseball, we want those exclamation points. We want you to finish off a series against the White Sox with a sweep. We want you, when you're 6 outs away from taking 3 out of 4 against the Dodgers, to do so. We want you, when you're playing the Dodgers at home and in the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th inning, they don't score a run, that you cash that run in and you take that game after making a comeback in the bottom of the 9th. We want those exclamation points. Those are the things that take you from being a good or a great team to being a serious, true, top-notch World Series contender. You've got to finish the job. And the Mets a couple of times this season have been unable to do so. Today was another example. Want to talk about David Peterson and his start and the decision that was made by Carlos Mendoza to not go with him in the 8th inning. I have some interesting thoughts that I want to share with you on that. Your thoughts always welcome here on the Mets Postcast. We'll talk about Pete Alonso doing it again, another home run for him in this one. We'll get to all of that here. And again, your thoughts always welcome. We'll get to all of it here on the other side. NBA Finals start tonight, and the NBA playoffs still going. Pacers, Thunder tonight, game 1. Perhaps you want to get involved. FanDuel every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, can't miss moments. The NBA Finals will certainly have all of that, whether it's a game-winning shot, shout out you, Tyrese Halliburton, or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. You're new to FanDuel? It's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back here, Mets Postcast, Locked On Mets YouTube channel, the Locked On Mets podcast. Feed Chris Schubert with you, recapping the Mets falling in the series finale, the season series finale between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Mets by a final score of 6-5 in 8th inning, where they just had a bit of a meltdown. Just did not do the little things correctly. The Dodgers pounced on it. They were able to get those 3 runs across to take the 6-5 lead, and the Mets were unable to rally in the top of the 9th. Let's talk about David Peterson's day. 3 runs for David, not normally what we're used to seeing from him, but goes 7 innings, those 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 91 pitches. And the interesting decision that was made in this game by Carlos Mendoza to not have him start that 8th inning after striking out Ohtani to get out of the 7th. Now, I need to be fair. I have been critical on this postcast and in other forums and media appearances talking about the New York Mets and Carlos Mendoza in particular, that one of the main criticisms that I have of Carlos, especially early on in the season, he's gotten better of it as of late, is that he doesn't have a quick enough hook with his starters. that he leaves the starters in the game too long. He did this with Griffin Canning at the beginning of the year. He's done it with David Peterson at times, that Toronto start where Petey had the back thing or whatever was going on, the weirdness where we didn't know what was dealing with Petey, the cramp, did he have vertigo, whatever it was, and he kept him in the game, and then he couldn't throw strikes, and then the whole thing fell off. The wheels fell off in a hurry. So he tends to stick with starters a little bit too long. So this coming from me, I understand. I want him to lean on the side of pulling his starters a little early. But after Petey got Ohtani, and he was under 100 pitches, he responded really well after having that 3-run inning. I don't see the harm in starting the 8th inning with Peterson. I know it's a 3rd time through or 4th time through at that point. No, it was a 3rd time through with Betts, with Smith, with Teoscar Hernandez. I get all of that. You maybe want to limit the exposure there. But Petey has shown you, this is his 2nd start against the Dodgers this season. He has shown you, not afraid of these guys. He's going to go right after Ohtani. He's going to go right after Betts. He's going to go right after Will Smith. And so I don't know why you couldn't put him out there and let him go until he gets a base runner, right? Okay, I'm going to give you the chance here in the 8th, but the moment there's trouble, the moment you let somebody on, I don't care if it's with 1 out, 2 outs, no outs, doesn't matter. The moment there's somebody on the base paths, you're out of this game. I think I would have stuck with David Peterson just a little bit longer. But you turn to Reed Garrett. It's one of your best relievers, right? So you can't say that you didn't have your A-plus relievers. Edwin Diaz was getting ready to pitch the 9th inning. And so this wasn't a day where you're shorthanded and you have to try to listen. David Peterson has been in this exact spot where the Mets were shorthanded and they needed him to give some length. And he did exactly that against this Dodgers lineup. So they didn't need that today. You had your A relievers. You had Reed Garrett. You had Edwin Diaz. So I can understand that side of it. We've got this great bullpen. We've trusted them all season. Reed Garrett is putting together an all-star level campaign. Put him out there. No problem. No issue with that. Just thought that maybe you could have let Petey at least start the inning with Garrett ready to go at a moment's notice. No Francisco Lindor in this game with that toe injury, so that's something to monitor as the Mets will carry on into a 3-game series with Colorado. The perception is that it's not a big deal. The perception is that it's going to be short-term. If it's longer than this one game, that we'll see Francisco Lindor sooner rather than later. Feels very similar to what Mookie Betts is dealing with. He missed a couple of games and then was right back in there for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So supposedly a similar type thing for what Lindor is dealing with that broken pinky toe. Let's quickly talk about Pete Alonso hitting another home run, his 15th of the season. Just is hot. I mean, he is on fire right now. 4 home runs already in June. He had 4 all of last month, so he's got 4 home runs already. It's June 5th. So that record, that all-time Mets home run leader record is just quickly going to become his. He's going to pass David right here pretty soon, potentially in the next couple of days. And then Darryl Strawberry is next up. Max says, I want to pose a question. I've been thinking about, does Acuna have trade value? And if so, is it worth trying to get more immediate talent for him? No, I don't think so. At least not right now. I think Acuna provides this team with something that they don't have. Defense late on the infield, speed late if they need it, the ability to play multiple different positions, right? With Lindor out, it's great to have Acuna there to be able to play shortstop. He can play second base. You can maybe try to throw him in center field. So he has some versatility. So he has, I think, more value to this team right now than potentially what they could get for him. But I understand, even after a loss, you're trying to figure out ways to improve the team. I get all of that. But no, I don't think there's any interest, at least in this juncture, to trade Luis Angel Acuna. Ray says, Chris, they left a continent on the bases, elephant in the room. Come on. Ray, it was one of the first things I mentioned here on the postcast, that they left 13 men on base, that they went 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. We pointed out the 4th inning when they had the bases loaded and Alonso struck out and Jeff McNeil. I mean, I went on an entire Jeff McNeil rant that his approach in those spots with the bases loaded and a run scoring opportunity have to be better. I can't just repeat that 400 times. They had a rough day with runners in scoring position. They missed opportunities to blow this game open. The Dodgers tried to hand it to them. They wouldn't take it. And that's not new for this team. We've seen it. It was a couple weeks ago, we were having that conversation on a regular, everyday basis that this team couldn't come through with runners in scoring position. And so I am not trying to sugarcoat this game. I'm not trying to sugarcoat this series. This was unfortunate. They had a huge opportunity here to put an exclamation point on this, and they didn't. And they have to be able to say at some point that they started putting exclamation points on moments like this if we want to take them seriously with what their goals are, which is to win a World Series. They were 2 wins away from going there last year. They've made improvements to their team. That's the goal this year. They want to be put in that bucket. They want to be talked about like that team. They've got to do the little things right. They have to do the exclamation points. And today they did not. And it's unfortunate because you'll look back at the end of the season and you missed the division by a game. You miss potentially getting home field by a game. You look at a game like this and you go, man, what could have been? And that list grows and grows throughout the course of the season. The Mets fall to 39-24 on the season, and they finish up 4-3 in the 7 games against the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think there was one more comment that I wanted to get to before we got out of here. Oh, Ray said this game stinks. Absolutely, 100%. This game stinks. And you got a great start from David Peterson. Had one bad inning, and what I think is the difference in old Petey and new Petey is normally that inning would sidebar his entire outing. Like he would just go off the rails and it would just snowball. It didn't. He responded, kept throwing up zeros, got that huge strikeout of Ohtani there in the 7th, and the Mets were able to get the lead in this game or hold on to the lead in this game and get that insurance run because of the job that David Peterson did after that weird 3rd inning. And again, the 3rd inning, he walks the guy, can't do that. Ohtani has a weird hit, little just dribbler that gets through, and then just they score the 3 runs. But you got the first out of the inning. You can't walk, guys. You set yourself up when you walk to set up an at-bat for an Ohtani. And then Ohtani hits the dribbler, keeps the inning going, and then they're able to score the 3 runs. But after that, he settled down and was fine. You had Reed Garrett. You turned to him. He got the ball that he needed to on the ground. Brett Baty didn't field it, didn't play it well. Fielded it, just didn't play it well, didn't make a good throw to home. And then Alvarez gets in the way. And, yeah, just a disastrous 8th inning for the Mets where they gave up those 3 runs after getting what you thought at the time was a much-needed insurance run to go up 5-3. I see some talks of retaliation for Lindor. I mean, he got hit in the toe, guys. I mean, he didn't get hit in the small of the back where you can make the argument that it may or may not have been intentional. He got hit in the toe. Come on. We don't need to respond or be, retaliatory over something like that. It happens. It's baseball. You hate that it has led to an injury and you hate that it's led to Lindor being out for today's game, but come on. You don't need to be retaliatory when you get hit in the toe. It's just a pitch missing its spot. The Mets fall in this one. Frustrating day. I mean, think of how different we're talking about this series, this game, this team. If they win this game, they go 5-2 against the Dodgers. They beat them on a getaway day, heading into a series with Colorado. I mean, we're feeling good. I mean, we're skipping all over the place, and instead, we're talking about a team that didn't hit with runners in scoring position, that didn't do the little things right. And you want to win a championship, you want to win this division, you got to do the little things right. And so hopefully it's just a blip. Hopefully this is just one game and they're able to flush it. They're really good at that. So you'd expect them to be able to flush this, and they get to go to Colorado, where if these bats are going to continue to be hot, if Pete's going to be able to hit more home runs, Soto, Nimmo, Lindor, if he gets back in the lineup, offense could really break out here over the weekend, put up some big crooked numbers when they're up there in cores. But that will do it for us here on the Mets Postcast. If you are new here, please subscribe, turn on that notification bell so that you are notified when we go live after each and every Mets game throughout the course of the season. We are back tomorrow and all throughout the weekend to recap this series with this series upcoming with the Colorado Rockies. We'll be here after each and every game to break it all down. Ray says, thanks, Chris. You're here every day. Respect that. I'll be at the game, of course. Ray, have a good time. But don't forget to be here for the post game. I don't care if you're going to the parking lot or whatever. You turn on that phone, okay? Because the Locked On Mets Postcast, it works on the phone. You're here with us after the game. I want to hear those thoughts from being in the building. But yes, appreciate it. Appreciate all of you being here after each and every game as well. We're back tomorrow breaking down the opener of this series between the Mets and the Colorado Rockies. And hopefully the Mets can flush it and get right back on track. Tough one today. Unfortunate that the Mets missed an opportunity, but this team normally responds when bad things like this happen and they get things back on track. So hopefully that will happen tomorrow. See you, everybody.